But Dan, what do you think about the polling situation? Because polls here have been a little bit variable in quality as well, I understand, in the last few years.
Polling's not what it used to be. With cell phones and everything else and trying to reach people, it's impossible to get accurate polls anymore. You saw it Brexit, I don't think. You say in Europe they thought that, I don't think anybody here thought it was going to be that way. And polls here in the United States, they're swaying day in and day out, difference, and then you're seeing huge swings on election day. The polls just aren't what they used to be. I don't know what the issue is, that we can't get the data right, or if we can't get people because they're all on cell phones, or if the demographics have changed. They're just not as accurate as they used to be.
Perhaps also the margins are increasingly wafer thin. I'm really horrified looking at the results from Florida and Ohio, which are like your two most swing states, and they both seem to be within 1%.
And they're going to move a lot between now and election day, and I think they're going to be influenced what happens and what each candidate says. So I think you're going to see these swings back and forth and back and forth. Obviously, the ultimate poll is election day, but I think between now and then we're going to be in for a wild ride, and I'm not sure anybody's going to be able to use a poll as a true predictor of how this is going to turn out.
Looking at the election style then, what do you think is the similarity, if any, between the sort of Trumpism and the Brexitism?
I think what you have there is there's a certain part of both the American public and in London of dissatisfaction with government. And they've had it, and they're ready to do something else. They've had it with every politician of every stripe, and they want to do something different. And Mr. Trump has done a very good job of tapping into that. But I like to tell people too, he's not the only one that's done that on his campaign trail. Bernie Sanders did just as good a job tapping into a segment of the American public that is very upset with the status quo.
Yeah, we mustn't forget that back in, was it 1912, you had an election where the sitting president came third, which is difficult in a two-party system.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting election. You're going to see some wild swings. It's going to be dirty. Both candidates are flawed. Some will argue one's more flawed than the others, but both candidates are flawed. And both candidates have unfavorable ratings that are through the roof and have never been seen before.
Yeah. But in terms of what happens here, you definitely have a transition coming up, because there will be a new president elected on November the 7th, whenever election day is. How is that going to work out, impact American processes?
If Hillary Clinton is elected, it'll be a pretty smooth transition for two reasons. One, it's the same party. Two, she's been through it before, and she has a number of old hands that she's already putting together on her transition team, and there is a transition plan that's being put in place. If Donald Trump, who knows how it will play out, because he has no Washington experience. He doesn't listen to Washington, so it'll be an entirely different way of doing things, and it'll be a huge curveball for the process. And another part of this too will be what happens in the Congress. Does the Senate flip to Democrats, or does it stay in Republican hands? The House will probably will definitely stay in Republican hands. But the transition, it's going to be who it is, and it'll be very different if it's a Donald Trump administration versus a Hillary Clinton administration.
Yeah, indeed.